Hey guys! So today I have another holiday look for you, and it's not quite as heavy as most of my other looks because I wanted to do something quite soft that everyone would feel comfortable wearing. And I also wanted to use products that a lot of you might already have. I've already primed my face with Gosh Foundation Primer, so I'm going to start with concealer. I'm using Collection 2000 Lasting Perfection Concealer because I've heard really good things about it. I think they're called Collections now actually, not Collection 2000, but anyway. This concealer, it is really great, it has really good coverage and it's nice and thick. I chose one with a bit of a peachy tone to it as this will help cancel out any of the blue and purple tones underneath my eyes. Because that's what I use concealer for, I don't care too much for covering up spots because if they're crusty and gross looking, then no amount of concealer is going to hide that, so I don't usually bother. But this concealer is totally capable of covering up discoloration and scars if you want it to. I'm going to be using L'Oreal's True Match Foundation next, but if you wanted a lighter coverage, which I usually go for when I'm not filming, then I have two recommendations. I really like this Nivea Tinted Moisturising Day Cream and L'Oreal's Nude Magique BB Cream. They both give a pretty tanned look, so if you're pale and don't like that, then maybe avoid that, but I quite like it. This is my absolute favourite drugstore foundation. I mean, I haven't tried any for a while because I use the Estee Lauder Double Wear now, but before I discovered that, I went through bottles of this stuff, and also the Revlon Colour Stay I really liked as well. Now this is where I would usually apply my MAC Studio Finish Concealer, so instead I'm just going to use a bit more of the Collections concealer underneath my eyes. Then I'm using the NYC Translucent Powder to just set this in place. Just underneath the eyes for now, I'll do the rest in a second. Next, I'm using MUA Bronzer to contour, and I use this all the time. As you can tell, it's just my go-to bronzer. I think it's probably the only one I have. So I'll just contour where you would usually contour, and you've seen me do this a million times by now. I just go underneath the cheekbones, the sides of the forehead, squish my brush like this, and then go down the sides of my nose and also underneath my bottom lip. It looks kind of orangey with this foundation, but with my Double Wear foundation it works perfectly. So if you use the shade Golden Ivory in True Match, then you should probably go a shade lighter with the bronzing powder, so go for shade 2 instead of the shade 3 which I'm using. To prevent myself getting oily throughout the day, I'm setting my T-zone with the translucent powder, and that's just going to stop the foundation from moving and it looking greasy and horrible. And I don't have a drugstore blush, I forgot to buy one, so I'm just going to use this Sigma one. For the eyebrows, if you prefer using powder, then I used to use this matte brown eyeshadow from MUA, but I've just been using this Rimmel brow pencil recently. I fixed up the edges of my brows with the Collections concealer and then ran through them with a clear mascara. Even though clear mascara doesn't really do anything in terms of setting my eyebrows because they're too stubborn, they just go in whichever direction they want, I find it adds a bit of texture back into them, like it highlights the fact that there's hair there, it makes them look a bit more natural. Moving on to the eyes, instead of using a primer, I'm using the concealer again, and since this tutorial I've actually been using this concealer as a primer, and it works just as well. Then I'm applying this pale yellow colour all over the lid and up towards the brow. Then I'm applying this shimmery shadow on the inner third of the lid, underneath the brow, and roughly in the inner corner. And the palette I'm using is the MUA Undress Me 2 palette, which is basically a dupe for the Naked 2. Next, I'm using this colour Lavish, which is similar to the colour Tease from the Naked 2, and I'm just applying this in the outer corner. Next, use a fluffy brush to just blend out the edges across onto the lid a little bit, and you can also take it through the crease to add a bit of definition if you want to. You can also go back in with the shimmery shadow from before if you feel like you've lost some of that colour intensity. Instead of using a liner, I am going to use the black shadow from the same palette. If you use an angled brush and wet it either with a fixing spray or even just water, then you can apply it just like a liner. It's not an intense black, but I don't think that matters too much. Unless you want an intense black, then use a liner. I'm just creating a little wing at the edge, which is really easy to do with an angled brush. If you haven't tried it, then definitely give it a go. And then I'm just applying some mascara. Next, use the gold shadow to add a pop of colour underneath the eye, and I'm using a little inner corner shader brush to do this. If you don't like shadow underneath your eyes, you can apply that gold on the inner corner, but on the top. You could also do this with gold glitter or gold liner, but it is the gold and the red that makes this look a festive look, so make sure you add a bit of something there. Then I'm adding a bit of shadow underneath the rest of the eye because I hate leaving underneath the eye bare, and this is going to work together with the white eyeliner because it's going to make my eyes appear bigger and more awake. The lip product I'm using is one of the new MUA Luxe Velvet Lip Lacquers. I really like these, they have a nice velvet finish as the name suggests. I bought all 5 shades in this collection and they're all absolutely gorgeous, but then that's it. It's nothing special, it's just a nice, simple, soft look, but I thought I'd do a look with some of my favourite drugstore products because I don't think I've ever done a dedicated drugstore product video before. So let me know what you think and if you'd like more of these, I guess. And I hope you like it. Thank you for watching.